Dark room, dim lights, and Jungkook piercing gaze that bore into Wine's eyes. He stood before her, the distance between them almost invisible, as the candle lights added fuel to the tension between them. She stood her ground, a storm of courage swirling within him. The flickering candlelight cast shadows on his face, like his real identity. A man made of shadows and darkness. A man word dreaded. A man capable of turning heaven into hell. Jungkook's voice was low as he spoke, with an edge of possessiveness. Jungkook, you can't escape me, princess. You're mine, and no one else's. Why? What we have is forced. Forced wedding, forced dominance, forced possession. I may be bound by your name, but I'm not yours. A predatory smile tugged at the corner of Jungkook's lips, hiding the burn in his chest when she claims not to be his. Jungkook, you underestimate the power I have over you, he murmured, his fingers trailing along the curve of her jaw. Jungkook, just like you underestimate the power you have over me. She met his gaze with an unwavering determination. It took her a hard time to hide. The fact how his words affected her. Wyan, what was forced will stay forced. You can't change that. His hand moved to the small of her back, fingers leaving a trail of heat through the silk of her dress. Jungkook, I like a challenge, he admitted, his breath mingling with hers. As Jungkook's lips brushed against her ear, Wine shivered, but stood her ground. Wine, this is a game, Jungkook. You can't break me. He chuckled, a dark sound that sent shivers down her spine. Jungkook, oh, princess, I don't intend to break you. I want to possess every inch of you. Her boldness met his desire, creating a charged atmosphere. Wine, possession, will never equal love and won't ever be sold at the name of darkness you hold within yourself. He pulled her closer, their bodies pressed together, and the room seemed to pulse with the heartbeat of their conflicting desires. Jungkook, love is a luxury I can't afford, but you'll find comfort in my possession. Jungkook's lips found hers in a demanding kiss, a clash of wills and desire. He kissed her like no woman was kissed before. He poured his possession into that one kiss, and Vine surrendered like she never did before. There was something about his touch and his kiss that drove her to the edge. She never, she never before surrendered to anything before that was against her will. It was strange how both of them lost in the game of desire. Or was it something more? Something they were resisting to accept? Jungkook first found her and was captivated by her. The way she moved, the way she talked, the way she did things to him. In that instant, he wanted her to himself. He started to trace her steps, a silent predator tracking his prey. From the crowded streets, to the quiet moments in a coffee shop. He observed her from the shadows. He learned about her dreams, her fears, yet the more he uncovered, the more interesting she became. For sure, she soon found out who he was, no matter how bold and strong she was, no matter the confidence she had in herself. His reality didn't change. He was still the formidable man the world knew him to be, the one who knew no lengths when it came to destruction. What they had was forced, but in that moment when he kissed her, she allowed him. He never forced himself on her except for the wedding vows. He never touched her forcefully. Jungkook, you can't resist me, princess. He whispered against her lips, his hands tracing the contours of her body. A glint sparkled in her eyes as she retorted, Wine, I don't resist you. I resist the chains you try to bind me with. Wine, if only you tried to approach me in a good way and made me fall for you, I would willingly surrender to you. Jungkook, who do you think I am, princess? Not your gentleman. He caged her against the wall, his hand on behind her, and he leaned down closer to her. Wine, walking red flag, she whispered, almost a try to not let him hear her words, but that dimple that appeared on his cheeks almost drove her insane. The man so dark and filled with shadows had a dimple so cute. She could just fall in love with him in that sight. Vine's gaze softened, and for a fleeting moment the barriers between them seemed to crumble. He cupped her face, his touch surprisingly gentle. Jungkook, then how about now? I would bring you anything you want, Vine. Just like now. She leaned into his touch, acknowledging the fragile connection that had emerged between them. Vine, you can't control love, Jungkook. It's wild, untamed. It will burn you alive if you treat it wrongly. His thumb traced her lower lip, a gesture almost tender. Jungkook, love is a dangerous game, and I play to win. Vine placed her hands on his chest and took a step forward, making him step back. She took another step, then another. Vine, best of luck then, although I can't confirm your victory. She reflected a playful smile and walked past him, earning a smirk from him in return. After a while, when she got done with the night care routine and came out, she crossed her arms. Vine, I want a separate bed. Vine, and before you reject, you said you'll give me anything I demand. Jungkook walked up to her, throwing her above his shoulder, and walked over to the bed. Vine, hey, put me down. Where are you taking me? He stopped before the bed and put her down. He then got beside her on bed without giving her a chance to speak. Jungkook, this is your bed and your place to sleep. I'll fulfill your every demand, but if you ask to stay away from me, you won't ever get that. I won't ever leave your side. He nuzzled his face in her neck, causing her to shiver. It caused goosebumps to rise on her body. She unwillingly surrendered to his touch. He was different, in a way words couldn't describe. His arms wrapped around her waist, pulling her to him, keeping his face in her neck. Jungkook, sleep. You had a long day. His hand gently stroked her shoulder, and she closed her eyes. She didn't push him away, nor he did anything to irritate her. She was confused, very, very confused, and he was not helping her at all. The morning sun painted hues of warmth across the room, casting a gentle glow on the surroundings. Vine awoke to find herself enveloped in the soft embrace of silk sheets. As she stirred, she realized she wasn't alone. Jungkook, once the formidable force of the night, sat beside her with a tray of breakfast in his hand. Jungkook, good morning, he murmured, a tender kiss playing on his lips. She met his gaze. How was she supposed to process when one minute he forces her to marry him and the next moment he brings her food like the perfect husband material? Ryan, are you trying to impress me? Jungkook, what I'm trying to do is, yes, impress my wife. So now, if you're done judging me, please have your breakfast. He placed the tray before her and leaned back against the bedrest. She looked at him suspiciously before raising her brow. Jungkook, I won't poison my wife. Wife? Oh, it was still weird to her, but somehow she liked it. She then started to eat, because whatever was happening between them, you can't expect her to stop eating. Jungkook, we are going to shopping after this. I need you to buy things you need, things you always wanted but couldn't get, and things you admired from far away. Wine, no matter how expensive that is. Jungkook, did I hesitate? She wasn't going to take use of his offer earlier either, but if he was really trying to put effort into their relationship, maybe she could too. Wine, are you not going to eat? Jungkook, I might, if Biz offers. Her cheeks turned red slightly, which she tried to hide, and moved the tray towards him to share as well. His intense eyes lingered on her before he shared the meal with her, his fingers tugging her hair behind her ear and held her chin ever so delicately. Jungkook, give it a chance. After processing a lot, she nodded. A chance. How bad could it go? She did, and Jungkook spoiled her like he promised. Spoiled her like no woman was spoiled before, and she made sure she didn't take a wrong advantage of that.